Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we are on to week 16 of the NFL season, which means you're round 2 of your fantasy playoffs, and you're getting closer and closer to hopefully that championship this year. Now let's jump right into the quarterback position. All right, so week 16 of the NFL season here, and we've got a great slate of games this week. You got some games on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So make sure you guys' lineups are ready. And of course, this is a great week for fantasy playoffs. We've got your quarterback position where you're talking about. You got some players that obviously you've got hurt. Unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes is done for the season, and obviously off season with a torn ACL. You got Jaden Daniels, who's been officially shut down. There's still a lot going on. So with that said, hopefully this list helps you guys out as far as players you should start and with confidence this week. Now, this is your obvious starts at the quarterback position. These are quarterbacks that matchup proof or just have a great matchup in general, and you obviously are going to put them as your lineup. Now, my first quarterback I'm going to start this week is going to be Bryce Young versus the Bucs. Crazy as it sounds, Bryce Young has actually done a pretty good job. He did obviously falter last week. We only put up 15 fantasy points, but he's playing against a Tampa Bay Bucs defense that is absolutely struggling. The Bucs are the worst team in the last 6 weeks against quarterbacks, allowing over 25 fantasy points a game, 279 passing yards, which is the league worst, and averaging 2 touchdowns per game. They're allowing that amount every single game. This is a must game for both Tampa and Carolina. One of these teams has to get this playoff spot for their division, and this is a great matchup. Again, is it a game everybody wants to watch? Not necessarily, but this is a game that it matters for the playoffs and, of course, for your fantasy. Now, like I said, I love Bryce Young this week. He didn't have the greatest week last week against a Saints defense that has done pretty good. I mean, the last time he played the Saints, he had put up 1 point, so give him credit there. And Bryce Young has done pretty well this season. He's had some ups and downs, but I really love this matchup. Now, another quarterback I really like this week, and I really should start, is J.J. McCarthy. I get he played against Dallas and he looked great, but he's got another great defense that he gets to play against, which is the Giants. The Giants have allowed 19 fantasy points per game. They're allowing 234 passing yards. They're also allowing about a little over a touchdown, almost 2 touchdowns per game as well. J.J. McCarthy obviously was able to get stuff on the ground. He didn't get Justin Jefferson involved, which is kind of crazy because you've got this elite receiver who unfortunately is starting to look average right now with J.J. McCarthy back there. Now, do I think that continues? I don't necessarily say that. I still think Justin Jefferson is an absolute stud, but this is a really good matchup for J.J. McCarthy. He's got to redeem himself. He's had some struggles this season where he's just absolutely looked like he lost, like he just doesn't know what he's doing, but he came off a 20-point performance against the Commanders, a 23-point performance against Dallas. Why can't he continue that in the NFC East against the Giants? Because this is a really good matchup. I think this is a matchup where J.J. McCarthy has another solid week. You should put him in your lineup. Now, another quarterback I really like is Jacoby Brissett versus the Falcons. I have mentioned Jacoby Brissett, I don't know how many times. In the last 6 weeks, he has been quarterback 3 in fantasy. He's been phenomenal. He's thrown 12 touchdowns, which puts him tied for third in the last 6 weeks. And he's got a great matchup this week against the Falcons. The Falcons are a team that have a decent amount of points allowed to the quarterback position, right? They're allowing 19 points per game. They're allowing 270 passing yards and a touchdown as well. Yes, Marvin Harrison probably will be out again. Very likely. But with that said, it doesn't matter. He's done a really good job with Trey McBride. He's done a really good job with Michael Wilson. Obviously, they lost Bam Knight, which means, obviously got Michael Carter, DeMarcado back there as well. But anyways, Brissett is going to have to pass. The run game isn't as great. He still has great trust in Michael Wilson. He still has one of the best tight ends in the game in McBride. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. plays, I think that's only a benefit. Jacoby Brissett should be in your lineup. Now, the last quarterback I want to mention is Bo Nix versus the Jaguars. Jaguars have actually played defensively pretty well. They're only allowing about 15 fantasy points and only 218 passing yards. But you got to give credit to Bo Nix. Now, Bo Nix obviously is coming off of a phenomenal performance against the Packers, and I thought Bo Nix was going to struggle. The Packers have been really, really good defensively. But with that said, he was phenomenal. Over 300 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Like, he was amazing. He absolutely blew it out of the water, and that was not something I expected. I thought defensively it was going to be a really close game. I actually didn't think it was going to be scored as high as it did. So you got to give credit to Denver. Denver's defense obviously didn't do as great as they thought they would. But with that said, this is a really good matchup for Bo Nix. I like the matchup against the Jaguars. I think this is going to be a nice little shootout. I think the way defenses have been playing against, the Jaguars. Jaguars have been putting up points. I know they played the Jets, who were not great. Don't get me wrong, but Jacksonville's on a nice little high right now, and I think they're going to try to continue that. And with that said, Bo Nix has got to match that energy, and I really like him this week. Now, as far as quarterbacks I'm going to sit this week is going to be Jaxson Dart versus the Vikings. I understand Jaxson Dart has done pretty well this season. He's played really, really well, but in the last 6 weeks, he has not been great. That's one thing you got to look at is the trend. How well has he been playing? And he has not been playing great in the last 6 weeks. I know some of it he was injured. I get it. But in the last 6 weeks, he's been quarterback 22, which is kind of shocking because he's had some 20-point performances. And he's coming off a good game against the Commanders. But defensively, this is a tough matchup. The Vikings are actually the second best team against quarterbacks, right? They even held Dak Prescott. He didn't throw any touchdowns. They've held quarterbacks to only 180 pass yards. And again, they don't allow a lot of passing touchdowns, which is the biggest thing. And I think Jaxson Dart, unless he gets a rushing touchdown or something, the wide receiver group is not strong enough to have the success that he would like to see. And I think Jaxson Dart is going to be, unfortunately, struggling this week. Another quarterback I really don't like this week is going to be Matthew Stafford versus the Seahawks in the Thursday night game. I get it. Matthew Stafford's probably going to be the MVP winner. He's been playing out of his mind. And Matthew Stafford has been fantastic this season. He's had, I think, one game under 10 points this season. He's been playing phenomenal. Now, there's a chance Devontae Adams doesn't play, which kind of puts why I kind of nervous with this one. But the Seattle Seahawks have also been defensively one of the better teams. They're only allowing 11 points per game to quarterbacks in the last 6 weeks. They're only allowing 172 passing yards, which is the league best. They are allowing the fewest passing yards. So with that said, do I think Stafford passes more than 170 yards? Yeah, absolutely. But I do think this is a Thursday night game. You know how defenses and offenses play in Thursday night. You never know what's going to happen. It could be up in the air. He is obviously going to have Puka Nacua. There's a chance Devontae Adams plays. We don't know for sure. Parkinson, their tight end's done really, really well. Obviously, you got Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. So the offense is still going to do, I think, fairly well. But I think this is a matchup. This is a division. Like, you're talking 11-3 teams that need to win to get this division and lock it in. So this is going to be a nice little fun game for Thursday night, but I'm kind of nervous for Matthew Stafford. I think he might end up having a dud game because if you actually look at the game that he had against Seattle the first time in this season, he only had 13 points. That was one of his fewest games this season. So again, it's possible. Now, another quarterback I'm going to sit this week is going to be Marcus Mariota versus the Eagles. You may not be starting him anyways, but I wanted to mention him because people have been playing him because Marcus Mariota has played fairly well when he has had the chance, right? Before he got replaced by Jaden Daniels again, week 10, he had 18 points. Week 11, 15 points. Week 13, 23 points. And that was against the Denver defense. Now, week 14, obviously, he came in with a little bit at the end of the game with Jaden Daniels, but he only put up 14 points against the Giants, which I thought he was going to put up more. Now you're playing against the Eagles defense, which has been phenomenal. So again, matchup-wise, this is really tough. Eagles are only allowing 11 fantasy points per game, 190 passing yards. So the matchup's going to be tough. I do think there's going to be some garbage time. I think Eagles end up going up big, which means the Commanders have to pass. So maybe get some yardage there, maybe a touchdown at the end just to kind of keep things a little bit more respectable in the score. But otherwise, the Eagles are going to blow them out, which means Marcus Mariota is going to have a tough time, and they're going to rush to go after him because they know he has to pass. So again, Marcus Mariota is a quarterback I'm going to sit. And the last quarterback I'm going to sit this week is going to be Brock Purdy versus the Colts. Crazy. I know. Brock Purdy came off a really good game, right? He's played really well since he's come back, right? 17 points in week 13. Week 15, he had 26 points last week against the Titans. But let's remind you, it was the Titans. Let's be honest. Not a great defense. Colts have actually played pretty well against quarterbacks, only allowing 13 points per game. They do allow passing yards, right? 250 passing yards. So that's might be where he gets a little bit, but they are a really tough defense. Pretty stingy. They lost Pearsall again. Obviously, you got Jennings. You still got Kittle. You still got Christian McCaffrey. So the offense is pretty good shape. So do I expect Brock Purdy to have a decent game? Yeah, he might get you 13, 15 points max. I don't expect him to have a huge game. And with all the quarterbacks out there that have some really good matchups, Brock Purdy is probably one I'm going to sit just because of the other matchups that are out there. Now, those are my start sits, and of course, week 16, we are talking semis. Now, with the other positions, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button. Stay tuned for all the other videos that are going to be coming out. We'll be posting those as soon as we possibly can. And good luck this week, and I'll see you guys next time.